So I finally saw the Sword Art Online Progressive movie, and it was pretty terrible. Morbius was unironically much better. In this video, I'll explain why Sword Art Online Progressive Aria of a Starless Night is a bad movie. The movie begins during the beta test for Sword Art Online. Kirito shows up out of nowhere, and he defeats a strong monster all by himself. The best part was when Kirito said, "It's Kirito in time," and Kirito'd all over those guys. Asuna goes to school, and we meet another character named Misumi Tozawa. Main character sits in the back of the classroom near the window cliche. Misumi is the quirky, edgy loner girl who's too cool to sit with the other kids during lunchtime. Misumi is pretty much a female version of Kirito. Is that a JoJo reference? Asuna uses her brother's nerve gear to log into Sword Art Online. Why does Asuna's brother have a bunch of guns on his wall? Is he planning to cosplay as Death Gun? They clearly plagiarized Ready Player One here. Asuna bases her avatar's appearance off of a picture of herself. Why does Asuna's brother have several pictures of her on his nerve gear? Does he have a crush on her? I wouldn't put it past Sword Art Online to do another brother-sister romance. This is the same studio that brought you Oraimo and Iromanga Sensei after all. Good old Sword Art Online camera angles. Asuna encounters Misumi in the game. It turns out that she's playing as a male character named Mito. What is the point of this Mito character? She wasn't in the original series, so this is a big retcon. Mito apparently wasn't in the light novels either, so Reki Kawahara is doing what he does best, and making stuff up as he goes along. Asuna buys a rapier and Mito buys a scythe. Why is the game called Sword Art Online when there are many other types of weapons to use? Sword Art Online's creator Akihiko Kaiba appears, and he explains what's going on. The players can't log out, and if they die in the game, then they die in real life. This movie is a ripoff of Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle, Tron Legacy, and Stay Alive. Akihiko mentions that he created Sword Art Online to enjoy watching this world. That's the dumbest reason I've ever heard. Akihiko can still enjoy watching the world without making it a death game and trapping 10,000 players inside. I honestly prefer the I forgot reason over this stupid explanation. I bet Akihiko trapped the players in Sword Art Online because the game is very poorly designed and would be a huge financial disaster due to only selling 10,000 copies. Nobody would willingly play Sword Art Online after the first day, so Akihiko forced everyone to play it. We interrupt Sword Art Online Progressive to bring you Goblin Slayer. Asuna and Mito see some other players getting killed. Asuna wonders if those players actually died in real life. Yes. Otherwise, people in the real world would have taken the nerve gear off the players' heads by now, or the game would be shut down. Because neither of those things have happened, it goes to show that the threat of death is real. Asuna and Mito get separated while fighting some monsters. Another strong monster appears and Asuna is almost killed. Kirito shows up in the nick of time to Kirito all over the monster and kill it. It's convenient how Kirito always appears out of nowhere to protect girls from getting killed. And all these scenes of Asuna nearly dying are stupid. We know that Asuna isn't going to die in Sword Art Online because she's in all of the later arcs. Progressive is just glorified filler. Maybe the Sword Art Online fanboys will fall for this because they aren't that intelligent, but other people can use their brains. It would make a lot more sense if this was Mito instead. She's a new character, so we don't know what's going to happen to her. And teleport crystals exist in Sword Art Online. Why are people never using those in this movie? Is this supposed to be a metaphor for something? Asuna wears a hood like all those emo kids in the early 2000s. I bet Asuna listens to Linkin Park and thinks that Donnie Darko is so deep. Asuna goes to a dungeon and she encounters Kirito again. There are thousands of players in Sword Art Online, and yet Kirito never bumps into anyone else. The amount of conveniences and contrivances in this movie is absurd. Kirito and Asuna go to a meeting to discuss how to beat the floor 1 boss. Kibao interrupts the meeting and he blames the beta testers. Kibao is easily the dumbest character I've ever seen. Instead of working together with the beta testers to achieve the common goal of beating the death game, you're gonna throw away your best chance of survival and make these people your enemy? What an idiot. Watching Kibao is infuriating. Furthermore, we've already seen all of this. The majority of this movie so far has been nothing but a rehash of the first 2 episodes from season 1. Why bother making a new movie if you're gonna tell the same story? It's a similar problem with the Disney live-action remakes. We interrupt Sword Art Online Progressive to bring you Food Wars Shokugeki no Soma. Kirito takes Asuna to the place that he's staying at. There's a bathtub and Asuna takes a bath. I guarantee Kirito was peeking at Asuna while she was taking the bath. Kirito and Asuna go outside. Why is this movie called Aria of a Starless Night when the night isn't starless? Am I missing something here? The players go to fight the boss. Ilfang the Kobold Lord turned into a Giga Chad. Diabel takes a big hit and Kirito offers him a healing potion, but he declines and dies. Why didn't Diabel take the healing potion? His HP didn't drop to 0 yet, so he could have healed himself and stayed alive. I guess Diabel didn't want to be in this god-awful movie anymore. Kirito, Asuna, and Mito work together to defeat the boss. The players are angry at Kirito for letting Diabel die. Is that guy Johnny Black? What a random cameo. Kirito goes goes full edgelord mode, and he activates his hentai protagonist hairstyle. Kirito accepts the hate and he makes fun of the other players. This is a stupid decision. Kirito made the situation even worse. Finally, the movie ends with Kirito and Asuna heading to floor 2. Are they really gonna make 74 or god forbid 99 more sequels? I hope not. Overall, this wasn't a great movie. I wouldn't recommend watching this movie at all. I suffered through it so you don't have to. Literally doing anything else is a better use of your time. Go watch Morbius instead of this movie. I obviously wasn't expecting much, but this movie somehow turned out to be worse than I imagined. The only thing that didn't suck was the animation quality, but it's style over substance. Sword Art Online is more concerned about looking good than being good. It's like you're watching a Zack Snyder movie. It looks good visually, but once you pay attention to the dialogue and the story, you realize that it's awful. It's hard to believe that so many people unironically enjoy Sword Art Online. Well, there are a lot of 6 to 10-year-olds, so I guess it kinda makes sense, even though there are plenty of other movies that kids could be watching. This movie was so bland and boring. I was struggling to stay awake. They played it way too safe. As mentioned earlier, we already know that the main characters like Asuna can't die, so there's no stakes. This is a prequel, so Asuna is for sure going to survive, because she's alive in the later parts. The new changes didn't make the story better either. Most of the movie was a rework of stuff we've already seen. I don't get the point of that. It's like how they did the Dark Phoenix saga storyline in X-Men The Last Stand, and then they decided to make a separate Dark Phoenix movie. Why bother? I find it hilarious how the whole point of Progressive is to not skip any floors, and for the sequel, Scherzo of a Dark Dusk, they're going to skip several floors, because the overarching storyline hasn't been completed yet in the light novels. The Sword Art Online franchise is a bigger disaster than the DC Extended Universe. Instead of waiting until the storyline is done and then making the movie, the studio prefers to sacrifice their artistic integrity and rush out a half-baked sequel. It goes to show that they just want to make a quick buck. That's pathetic. These movies are nothing more than soulless cash grabs. They're clearly making these movies for the money, not because they have an interesting and engaging story to tell. What are they even gonna do when the storyline is finished in the light novels? Are they gonna go back in time to the lower floors? So it's gonna be a prequel to a prequel? The funniest part is that this movie only made a little over $14 million at the box office, which is nothing compared to the $504 million that Demon Slayer Mugen Train made. Was this movie profitable? Sword Art Online is no Pixar, but I'd have to guess that creating an entire animated feature film and marketing it costs a lot more than $14 million. For example, the budget for Demon Slayer Mugen Train was $15.75 million. Not to mention that the studio doesn't get to keep all that box office money, because theaters take a cut out of it. I'm sure this movie lost money in the end. Hopefully that'll be the case for the sequel, and they'll stop making more of this garbage, because people are evidently losing interest. This movie didn't even make half of what Ordinal Scale made back in 2017. And why did it take over 8 months for this movie to come out on Blu-ray? It's not like it was constantly making money in theaters or anything. Even Marvel and DC movies only have a theatrical window of about 45 days or less, and those are both much bigger than Sword Art Online. It was also a missed opportunity to now release this movie on November 6th, 2022, because that's the day Sword Art Online launched in the anime, and that's my review of Sword Art Online Progressive Aria of a Starless Night. Moreover, I've done a how to beat video for this movie on my other channel, so check it out if you're interested. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to subscribe so you never miss a future upload. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.